nose there. Can you get a scratch on your nose? Yeah. Calvino has a little scratch on his nose. Aww. Yes, Dave. I'm gonna start when you get to your location. I'm just waiting. All right, can you wonderful people hear me? Hopefully Dave's also reached his destination, so this is going to just stab him. Well, you can hear me, excellent. I have a Calvino happily on my lap again who is shedding. And I have two cats upstairs who are arguing over a squid. Yep. And we're going to write some more stuff today. Woohoo! Calvino, are you comfortable where you're at? All right, he's comfortable where he's at. He's staying right there. All right. So, stuff I'm going to try and work on today is some more locations. So, just as a quick intro, if you don't know who I am Frost. We're here working on Legend Seeker. And today, I'm working on some of the world locations in the lore that has to do with them, because some of these areas involve demigods and stories and the wars, critical elements of the mythology. This area is, well, it's just kind of a fun little twist on a certain desert area I'm going to work on today. You may notice that it's a bluish themed desert with these massive pyramids. There's a reason for that. This place is known for sapphire dragons. Correct. You cannot read the text on the screen, Nozaku Boy, because it was suggested by legal counsel that we have it blurred, much as I do on my normal writing streams when I'm writing privately on my stuff. So while we'll be talking through it, generally we're keeping it all blurred now. Yeah. So yes, not gypped. No gypped. This is no Dark Intelligence. This is for Erudi's role-playing game. This is the lore for the setting of the world. We're here live writing it. I'm going to be writing, well, probably the majority of the lore and kind of the world and history, and scrubbing up some of the bits and pieces that need shoring up here and there for the Pantheon and old stories. The last couple ones I've gone over some world building, talked about stories about the gods and how the God Killer War came about, added some more story on some of the legendary iconic characters that people will be able to use as guides for making their own. And the name of the game is Legend Seeker. You can see the logo up there with the nice little dragon. And if you've seen Effie's streams, she's working on the cover for the book. So, yay. What is this? Funnish fact. Cats like cooked squid, but raw squid is very dangerous for them to eat. Interesting, Jensen. I didn't know that. Well, these cats are fighting over a little pink stuffed squid with a little bell on it. And it is the most coveted toy up there because the other day they destroyed the other one. They literally ripped it open. So there now there's one squid where there were two. You do smell dragon noodle soup. While it won't be anime themed and it won't be, you know, quite as dramatic as a triple pyramid, this kind of an influence, because blue does not occur a whole lot in nature, like all the time. Blue is not the most prevalent color for everything. I thought it'd be awesome to have a place that has, you know, slightly cloudy skies. It's on a coast where the cold water comes through, and it's a cold, you know, edge desert where the sand is primarily made up of sodalite, which does not normally happen naturally in a lot of places, and hackmanite. I think it's hackmanite. Is that what it's called? Somebody who's a geologist can tell you. But like this gentleman here next to this big cutout of this mountain, this is what they call that hackmanite. It has, my gosh, it has a very specific, I'm going to look here. I can't remember. It's tenebrescence. It's basically this rock that what's in it, it's really blue, and it's cool, and it's deep. It's kind of brittle. When it's exposed to certain kinds of light, it glows, and then the glow fades. It's really cool stuff. But these deserts are going to feature sodalite on a lot of things. And that's why I have this skiff out here, because I want them to have skiffs, because this kind of sand will allow you to traverse across it without sinking into it as much. And so they have these skiffs where they can just fly across the desert, which will be fun. Full of catnip. No, these weren't even full of catnip. Those squid they had no catnip. They just had a little crunchy thing inside that they wanted. So, not your area. Could you please read up on it real quick, Chrysanth? Thank you. Yeah, I have a few other images that I was playing with, different versions of, you know, the little pyramids and things that I've generated in some AI programs just to get an idea. But it likes making these pointy pyramids, which are kind of neat with the big cap on top. Because I asked it to make a sapphire cap, and it made a, well, white marbly kind of thing. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff I'm working on today. Two of the things I want to feature that are not people in this area is I'm hoping I can get to having some really cool birds. The dragons, of course. But also a few other like smaller creatures and things that could be just fun and like specific to this area, like maybe actual just real birds. I'm still kind of hung up on the idea of kind of deadly heron creatures like the Stymphalian birds and birds that they've seen in other campaigns and stuff. I think Savage Pathfinder, they may have run into them. Actually, they may have run into them in Mummy's Mask, I think they were in as well. The ones that have, you know, the bronze feathers and the bronze beaks. Hercules dealt with them. So I'm going to play with that. This is going to have some high altitude areas in it, but this is going to be a coastal desert. So a lot like some of the places in the Middle East where there are lots of oases along the rivers, but there are coastal deserts where all the drier air comes in and the coastal waters behave differently. Calvino, I need my hand back. He fell asleep in the palm of my left hand. So I don't know if I can actually do this without waking him up, but I'm going to have to wake him up anyway. But he fell asleep in my hand over here. You can see his head bopping up and down. All right, buddy, I got to take my hand back. Excuse me. And his head just flopped because he's like, ah. All right. So, yes, the giant antlion. So, speaking of that, I have some notes on termite type creatures and other kind of creatures. I know there's a lot of different things like ankhegs and crazy stuff in 5e. I'm going to talk with Erudi about the idea of insectoid monsters. I'll just throw that on here as an actual point on this one. And the sand skiffs. Tarth? Brienne got Game of Thrones. Oh, go Game of Thrones. Ah, I hate you, insects. Well, these won't be necessarily stinging insects, I don't think. These would be more like insect monster creatures. Like maybe kind of moving like, you see some of them that fight and move sort of like centaurs do. They have an insect body and kind of like a torso that's up. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, I want to get his feel on this stuff. This is also one of the cities here is going to be where the Cats Market is. And that's just literally a working title for the place that is, the place of cats. That is this enormous market made of all this local stone and sodalite and everything. But the cats just come and go as they please, as we talked about. Because I thought about having it over in the Caustic Strand, but it makes way more sense to be over here. Oops. All right, and the traders. Bum, bum, bum. So one of the other things I wanted to have happen here is have a natural phenomenon. Because I think if you guys remember when I talked about the moons, Grix's moon and Kika's moons, they are close and they kind of cause a wake through the atmosphere because they connect to the atmosphere at certain points. And when they're waxing and waning on different sides of the planet, they pull all kinds of things along with them. And in this place, this is where it deposits and loses a lot of those little meteorites. So there's a lot of really fantastic meteor showers falling here. So there's always really cool like space rocks just streaming down, hitting in the desert. And that's one of the things I think it'd be fun is these guys on skiffs. They sit out there and they're like, it's, the second night away from Grix's moon going to the new moon. It'll be gone. And in the wake of it, when it hits that point where it's going off and it's going to pull away from the atmosphere, everything that's been trailing gets dragged in by the planet, and then suddenly it's just like, a few nights of just nothing but like these little meteors smashing down into the desert. And these guys wait for it because that, really cool minerals and things are in there, star metal, whatever they're going to find, and they will just wait and they will just go out and jockey for position, and it's like a land rush going out to do this. So they will fight and sail through the night to try and get to these things, and whoever gets the stuff back, will probably make a little fortune. So I thought that'd be kind of a fun little, I don't even know what you call it, a happening? Bisecting insects. Woo! Hello, Wisty Melon. A Bazaar in the Desert. Tidal Dunes. So, here's the thing. When I mentioned that all this stuff, this stuff comes through the wake, having a celestial body, even though it's smaller, that close, is going to wreak, regular havoc in tides, all kinds of things. Haven't figured it all out, but it's also a magical world, so we can, forgive a few things. Having sand tides would be pretty interesting, I think. I have to think about that one. I'm just going to note that. There we go. But yeah, there's going to be the people who were there before, earlier versions of the same people who were made earlier in the world, and the dragons who were the first made, had whole cults of people doing stuff for them way back in the early days of the civilization, which is why these pyramids are here. And the Sapphire Dragons, they were, how do you say, they were basically worshipped by everything and anyone that was around that was not like evil, because they're relatively lawful. Erudi may change some of that for the setting. We'll see. But the Sapphire Dragons, there probably aren't as many as there used to be. They're probably more in hiding, but you're gonna find clutches of things left over from their worship spots, the tombs, the traps, set in there, all the things from their great creatures and pharaohs. We'll see if we're just going specific, like Egyptian again, or if we actually mix it a little bit, like Daxi was saying, with some Peruvian or even the Andes and Mexico and other places where they had some, high altitude places, because dragons can get up to those altitudes and they can do all kinds of things, and their workers could do all kinds of crazy stuff. So it won't have to be just flat deserts of sand. So we can have all kinds of interesting little cities and things up there. It'd be kind of fun. Yeah, floating nomadic city doesn't hold its position in the desert. So I put on the notes that there is literally, and I have it in quotes, a floating black market. It's not the cat market. That is like these kind of skiffs. But, when you think of like Java sand barge, way bigger than that even. And it's just a thing that slowly circles around a certain area following a specific current. And I wasn't certain if it was going to be a circular current, that it just took it through this vast swatch of the desert, and that sometimes it's close to a river and oasis, and sometimes it goes back, and they always steer, they have specific people that steer it, or if it just wanders and you have to know how to get to it, have the compass like this for the Black Pearl to find it, which would be also kind of fun too. I'm going to make a note of this thing, though, because I forgot about that. Cat. Had to make a note about the cat market. I forgot to put that down there. All right. Calvino, you're putting my leg to sleep. Hi, buddy. There you go. That'd be interesting. They don't fly, their wings usually swim through the sand, and they live deep underground. Calvino, you're a floppy, boneless cat right now, and oh boy, I need my lap. I need to move my stuff. Yeah, well, Daxi, that's the thing, is depending on this, because sodalite is not normally a sand, and these other minerals that are in it, and because of also the influence of Grix's moon, which is very magical, it can be fluidic, which is the reason that they can sail on this stuff. It's solid. It's not quite a non-Newtonian fluid, but it should behave like if you're going fast across it, you're not going to sink into it. If you're going slower, you can sink lightly and all that stuff. So it'll have some slightly unique properties. It's going to be fun to play with, without breaking everything, of course, because we don't want to break physics. Diabox pills. Diabox pills. You had to have oxygen. Well, let's see here. There was something else I was looking at. Wasn't the birds. There was something else in this area that I mentioned, I think, last stream. It wasn't the water. It wasn't the plants. It probably has to do with one of the iconic creatures and characters or something. I'll have to think about that. I'll think about that and see what I put down. Yes, Calvino. Yes, you're okay. Be comfy. Good boy. Did you scratch your nose again? Dang it. Stop it. Yeah. This will be interesting. All right, buddy, I gotta steal my hand back. Oh, okay, yep. Yeah, you're gonna have to figure out your own way to lay down. I gotta do stuff. I gotta work, bud. Low oxygen effect. Yeah, I did a little bit of research for a little bit of a story I wrote once where people were going up into a pretty high oxygen area and they didn't have access to that. And, they didn't have access to modern anything. And they had problems. Hi, buddy. What are you going to do here? What's going on? I see feet. I see a foot. I got a foot. I got a Calvino foot. Everybody look. Calvino foot. He's fighting me. Buddy. Oh, my gosh. You're out? You're out, Dave? All right. You're going to watch on replay, hopefully. You have a good time wherever you're going, if you can. We'll see you later. Hi, buddy. Yeah, okay. Oh, I move my leg up now. Okay, there we go. Whee! Yep. Woo. Blurp. Yeah, Daxie, I did read it. Yep. Calvino looks like he's suffering from that right now. He's just like slowly lowering his head back while he has his claws embedded in my stomach. Dang it. Sapphire Sands, the Sapphire Deserts, and the skiffs. I think there can be a lot of interesting things too with the skiffs and, the meteor chase and all that stuff. People getting out there and doing things. It could be if you manage to get a hold of one of those, it could be quite a thing to sell, make yourself a little fortune. But obviously people are going to be looking for tombs, all the normal stuff you get in a place where there's like really ancient artifacts and magic and stuff. Oh, I remember what the other thing was. I want to come up with a place where there was a battle from the war. Not anywhere out here in like the deserts or any of this stuff, but where Grix may have tried to possibly either find something that he shouldn't have, or he did find something and it opened up an enclave of the Keepers. And if you guys remember from the other stories, the Keepers are the ones who made the gods. And in this creation, the gods walked around with the people for a long time before they finally left. And having somewhere in this world, like one of these places, one of the Keepers' hidden enclaves, where the Keepers hid things in the world from the gods and everyone else, they're trying to lock it away, would be kind of cool. And I don't know if it would be plundered necessarily. Because I don't know if it could be plundered, but given the gods and who the gods are. There you go. Ark of the Covenant. Yeah, make a sword out of it. If you could get enough metal from one of these things, it would be pretty impressive to see what you could do with it, especially if it's like special, like I said, star metal or something like that. Okay. And the oases and places are where you're going to find all the creatures that want to live there. Those big termite-like creatures I was talking about. Maybe they're not exactly evil. Maybe they try and stay away from people and avoid them. But, people want whatever they have. Could be a source of conflict. I want to create some of those spots where there's tension and conflict Not everybody's going to live in harmony. In fact, almost nobody will live in harmony. Because that's people. Boop. So one of the things with Daxi that I have noted up here is that the sand is made up of a lot of different types of materials. My gosh, Calvino, I've got fur everywhere on me now. You're just poof. Did you just release a fur bomb? Is that what you did? Yeah? Yeah. Is that it varies anywhere from like sodalite crystals, which are, you know, these little blue pieces of sand and stuff that don't normally occur like sand, but here it will. And also all the way down to talc, like almost chalky talc, which is really dangerous to be screwing around in, because if you don't have your breathing and or your breath holes, yeah, I've got a cat with this claw stuck in my chest. Ow. Thank you, buddy. Okay. If you don't cover up your airways, don't cover up your eyes, you're going to be blind, you're going to be sucking that stuff in, and you're not going to make it. So, in fact, I'm going to move that down here. And we're going to make a special note of this. And I would say, if you're going along on your skiff and you don't know how to avoid those things, because I imagine that stuff would be very dangerous. It's like hitting a little riptide. You're sailing on really fast and you hit this stuff and it basically won't hold your skiff up. You slide right down into it. You just bury it. You could smash into rocks that are underneath there. So it's kind of like avoiding hazards. Moon dust, basically. It is named Sapphire Desert because the sand is blue. The sand is blue and, you know, white kind of. It's made up of a lot of sodalite. And that hackmanite, that picture that's down below this, I don't know if you can see it behind me here. This gentleman standing next to this hill that's cut out. But yeah, it's supposed to be very blue, but there are also sapphire dragons that are, you know, one of the groups that was here a long time ago, since they were the first race made, and they set up places where they were worshipped, and that's why there's pyramids to them, even though the humans also and the other people had pyramids of their own. The dragons were the big people, the big creatures that were involved in those. And this, that's the idea right now. It really depends on how we want stuff to go, because sodalite can be anywhere from green to yellow to blue. It has a few different colors to it, so it could be multicolored. Right now, I just have it being kind of bluish because it looks cool. It's pretty. But the other thing we have is that the moon of Grix comes through, and since the moons skim across, you know, they basically touch the atmosphere. There's a little atmospheric bridge, and in that wake, it can create little tidal changes, and not only in the sky and the water, but possibly in the sand. But that's also going to pull in the wake if it's celestial weight meteors. So every month when the moon goes new and it pulls away, it basically slingshots little asteroids, little meteors, to slam down into this desert area all across the desert. And that's when these guys in the skiffs go out, you know, like a land rush, everybody trying to get to them to harvest the one, you know, smashing into each other, taking each other's skiffs out, probably trying to kill each other if they get too close, hoping that they get to an impact site where there's like a nice good sized, you know, little meteor that they can, you know, go in and take and then sell to someone for some money. So that's the kind of stuff that's going on out here. These little cutthroat dudes on their little skiffs going out trying to get, you know, the big payoff. Like everybody's like, fishing season's open, go! But this is like 2 nights or 3 nights of meteor hunting. Could be fun. And I think the haze would be kind of interesting, especially different times of day. You could get, you know, the really cool sunrise hazes. What you doing, buddy? That is not a company. I can't believe you'd lay like that. Okay, whatever. Whatever, dude. Whatever, Calvino. I think he's tired of hearing about all this sand and stuff. You want to hear more about cats and birds? Cats and birds, buddy. Cats and birds. Where are the birds? He's like, where are my birds? Where are the 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 birds? talcum fields, noticeable because they whip up in the delineation zone with desert materials. The wind passes over them. Yeah, because if you know what to look for and you have eye coverings that can let you protect yourself, like looking down while you're sailing somewhere and seeing, there's like a little haze in the air and there's stuff blowing around. You're like, go right, go around that, because if you fall into that, we're screwed. So I think it'd be cool to definitely also have a lot of wrecks out there. It's like, oh, these guys fell into one. Yeah, there's not much left of their boat, and they basically got dehydrated into little husks out here. Could be interesting. But also, I'm trying to figure out how the bugs, the bug people, would fit into this whole thing. Because I think a lot of times you find them building, with some water nearby, but people would be fighting for them, or fighting for the water with them. So maybe they have a way to get water underground, because if they make their big termite kind of like colonies and nests, and if they're people sized, my gosh, Calvino, how do you have so much fur on me? There's so much fur on you. How am I getting it all? He's just pleased. He just looks like he's so pleased. Anyway, I'm going to try not to sit here and pull fur out of my mustache all day, but I may have to. Anyway, talking about the bugs, the bug people, the bug people. This will work. Yeah. He's going to slide right off my lap if he's not careful. Buddy, if you fall that way. How about we do this? Come here a second. Come here, bud. Come here, buddy. Come here for a second. Yes, I know you're super tired because all you've been doing is napping and you need a nap from your nap. I need a nap to recover from my nap. Is that what you're telling me? Yes. Oh, I see why I got so much hair in my beard. And my mustache. Hi. Well, this lets me stretch my legs out. Yeah, the metal for their hives would be kind of cool. Maybe they actually collect it as well, and they don't necessarily use it the same way. Maybe they use some of it for ceremonial purposes. All right, Calvino, down you go. Here you go. You can lay on my lap this way. Yeah, I don't know how dark sun we'd be going with it, because, we don't want people with sharp teeth, cannibals wandering around eating halflings or whatever they do and, fighting in arenas. But we can have some fun elements. What's up, bud? All right, get yourself comfy. He's so careful to not use his back claws on me that when he's trying to resituate himself, he doesn't put his claws out and he's just sliding along my pajama pants with his feet. He's like, I can't get purchased. Which I'm very happy about, because I would be full of more holes if he was doing it the other way. Sand pirate flotillas might be cannibals. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, you can technically find anything in here. It just depends on, I suppose, what we want to make canon, as opposed to what a DM wants to come up with on their own. Like, hey, it's a desert. You sailed out there. You didn't have enough dates with you. Oh, no. Looks like some of the crew is going to have to be eaten. The bugs are sentient, but I think they're not going to be... they're probably not going to be long-lived, because, a lot of bug races just have short lifespans. So they probably are not incredibly advanced. But it depends. We might be able to come up with something like an idea that they have a couple different tribes, a couple different types. Like they have a more warlike version. They may actually have different kinds of hives that are literally just there to produce food and water or whatever. So a lot of stuff we can investigate with those. He is determined to lay the exact same way he was laying, even though I moved my leg. You guys should all be jealous, because while I'm doing this in writing, I'm attending a company meeting right now where we're getting to see some of our new trailer footage from the upcoming Call of Duty 6. Ha ha ha. So if you can see it in the reflection of my glasses, no. It's looking pretty awesome. Okay. Spoilers. Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's not cool. And the closing statement. Yeah, this company meeting doesn't happen all that often, so it's kind of overlapping with this one, this stream right now. So much cat fur. I need to go get one of my lint rollers and just run it through my beard. Okay. Putting some notes for myself in here to see how we want to handle some other things, because as you know, people are not always nice, so it's possible that these people take advantage of the bugs and use them as cheap workers and labor. And there'll be also people who are like, oh, I don't mind them, they're pretty good workers, or they're pretty good whatever. Could be people with, that really hate them. Could be people who actually physically enslave them out there, like little warlords and stuff. So I don't think it needs to be a cultural norm, like, hey, wherever you go, you're going to see enslaved bug people. It could just be that some warlord out there, like a Jabba type person, has his little enclave where he sends his meteor raiders out, and everybody on those meteor hunts is like, oh no, don't go past that. Don't go past that marker. You go, you're going to be in his territory. And if he catches you, you're either going to die or become a slave. And so that kind of stuff, like people have set out their territories out there. But meanwhile, the massive cities are really cool. Built on the waterways. Big hanging gardens. And I was trying to figure out, for an area like this, because we have all these different races, if it would make sense to have one of these other races out there, like one of the smaller races or something. I haven't quite reconciled any of that in my head, and why they would be there, how they would work there. It would be cool to have a small, like an offshoot, like one of the groups of like a halfling group or a race that lived along the oases or something like that. Still haven't quite figured that one out to me. Because while I think it's interesting physiologically, I'm not sure if it might be smarter for little people to be running around in a desert situation rather than big people, but I don't know if that's the case, honestly. Pay the bugs in halfling meat. There you go. Because I think the other thing they'll have here are some really amazing gem mines. Fiercely protected. Because it's possible, it'd be kind of fun if these mines, not only do they have, you know, some natural veins and stuff going through, the only way to get down into them is to go through like the natural wadis and other pathways and things to get down in there. But you can't really mine in them, because if you do, you could, you know, wreck the structural integrity of this really brittle kind of rock that they're in. So when you go down there and start harvesting stuff, you have to be super careful and all that, because you don't want to collapse these intricate little pathways. Though I'm trying to figure out, it just popped in my mind, I'm wondering if like some of these mines that they're in are technically like ancient versions of the bug warrens. Be interesting. Like they know how to burrow through this stuff without disturbing it naturally. They can just go through it. But they abandon these because they don't have long memories and lives, that maybe some of these are left down there. That could be fun. That'd be interesting. Tiny link. Yeah, they're the half-halflings, the quarterlings. Mining could be more like diving. You have massive vessels that set up operation. It could be. And I was going to say, like a desert version of a cenote. Like maybe like these things, if they get exposed by the gravity changing when the moon comes through, or an impact, like maybe a meteor impact could crack the crust near one of these, and when I say crust, not the crust of the earth, but the crust of the sand and everything that's built up over the years, and expose like a hole down into one of these old abandoned tunnels. And they're like, ooh, we found a spot. And then some big guy comes over with his skiff and they park it over the top of it, anchor it in place with, you know, huge ropes in the ground and whatnot, and just sit there and send people down until they think they've got everything and then move on. That'd be fun. Jeremy Hamley may have a thing or two to say about the quarterlings. Uh-huh. Nice. All right. There we go. Yeah, they could be very dangerous to explore, especially if those creatures that are down there are definitely not like normal sentient bugs and creatures and stuff. Like those big old crazy millipede type things. What are they called? There's something besides an ankheg. There's They're like pernicious, but what are they called? Oh my gosh, what is the name of them? It's an old D&D bug. What are they? Gosh, what are they called? I'm gonna forget. But basically they kind of look like a mantis or something like that. There are Remz. Yep, Remz. Bugs are cut off from the hive mind of their shared culture. Bug deserters. Hey, there you go. You doubt he trademarked the term? Well, he... Well. Dang it. I'll have to go. I'm going to have to look that up somewhere. There was literally something in the old D&D where there was a creature called I don't remember now. Dang it. Traitors! Ferals. Wait, are we talking about the halflings? Feral halflings living down there? Like the little kid from the Mad Max? Just throwing metal boomerangs at everybody? What if one of the meteorites actually did punch all the way through the crust? I mean, in Magma Vent, there's a great crater of glass with magma pool at the center. That would be kind of fun. Like an actual glass crater. And it's possible that there may be more than one of those, because if we actually tied that to the war as well. Because it's possible that this would be something that would just be really dangerous to go to. I mean, who knows? There could be elementals coming out of it. There could be elementals that live around it. Oops. Are you shifting, buddy? Okay, find a good spot. Okay. I don't know if you guys heard that, but he just went... adding a few tidbits in here that I'm not saying out loud because they might be kind of fun things to have in like adventure modules and stuff like that. Okay, that would be interesting. Bugs, but that's funnier. Nice. Ruck from Dragon Age. I mean, the name sounds familiar, but I don't remember. Da, 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 da. I just realized my green screen has a little hole here. There's a hole in the writing. It's right here. See? I can put my hand right through it and grab something from behind here. I should probably move that and fix it. Da, 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 da. Okay, that's going to be fun. Now, I do want to look at the culture too, because I like the idea of the stereotypical things that people will expect from a desert culture that's, you know, oasis, sort of more Middle Eastern. You know, we got the pyramids, we have markets, we have the oasis, we have the flood and the all the stuff on the delta where we'll have different seasons for doing everything. Not sure how. I'm not sure how the gods are going to work with them, because they may revere Mordecai the most. Like maybe this culture of all of them reveres Mordecai the most, but I think there are probably also a lot of perverted versions of Mordecai in their mind. Like, yeah, he's a god of death, but really he's, you know, not just like, I'm going to kill everything. He's more like, I'm the person who holds the underworld. So I'll talk to Erudi about that, because I know he really likes Mordecai is one of his favorite gods that he created. So we're going to work that all out. Barbary Coast. Monsters breed in the tunnels of the lost dwarven civilization. Half mad, that's right. Okay, yeah. Yep. Yeah, we'll make this all facets of Mordecai. Okay. There's a certain cat here who's dreaming on my lap. So he's doing that kick, kick, kick thing. Buddy. I'm going to wake him up in a second because I'm going to be opening up a can of soda. And he's going to give me such a mouth. Oh my gosh, his little whiskers are doing this right now. He's almost chittering in his sleep. I fully expect him to just wake up and start going, kick, 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 kick. I would think there'd be a possible Ralph incoming, but... All right, Calvino, I'm opening a can of soda. It's going to startle you. I'll do it away from you, though. His ears went back and his claws went into my leg. Oh, no Ralph. All right. With Mordecai being worshipped in a lot of different forms, it's going to be interesting to see how the people kind of take the idea of a god of death. And while not worshiping death, you're revering the passage and the change that comes with it. And keeping with the lawful ideals of like Sapphire Dragons, which are also really important to these people around here. I wonder if that... I don't know if that would work, though. I'm trying to think if there's other ways that I could make, like, spots that are weaker here, that are ways to go in and out of the underworld, which might account for, you know, a lot of undead, which could be kind of fun. I'm going to have to think about that one a bit. He is still doing the whiskery thing. I don't know if you probably won't be able to see him because I think his head's down below everything. But he's doing the whole sleepy kitty dream thing. Which is probably, you know, us looking at it going, oh, that's so cute. And him saying, him probably like wandering through a whole forest killing creatures or something. Let's see, we want to go this way. Let's move this way a little bit. I don't have to move the green screen. There we go. We fixed the hole in the world, Calvino. We fixed the hole in the world. Yay! Calvino, I showed you your emoji. Did you like it? Can you Ralph for me? Ralph? 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 No? He's too tired to Ralph. He's had such a day of sleeping and sleeping. So much work to sleep. All right. So the birds. The birds. I have a few different types of birds in mind. Like I said, the Stymphalian birds with the bronze beaks and whatnot. I like the idea that they're out there and they try to, you know, they're basically living their own bird lives unless you bother them. Trying to think if there's a way we could fit them into other parts of the ecology, but at least, you know, if they're there, they're there. It should be fun. Tunnels could breach natural caves. Natural caves are very dangerous on their own. Yeah. I also put in the notes here that it's possible that over the, you know, maybe millennia, centuries, since one of them opened, they may have burrowed even down into the lower area of one of these big pyramids somewhere, if there's like a way, because not all the pyramids will be on mountains, some will be down in the sand, like buried in the sand part ways, that they could have actually breached some of those, so you might find your way into an actual like minor tomb or something here and there. That could be fun. Like maybe the miners are like, oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of undead things trying to kill us. And, you know, you send your people down there and go find out, oh yeah, they punched through into a tomb where a bunch of souls, you know, couldn't stay rest. Or there's a necromancer who did something horrible, or one of the meteors punched through and broke some kind of a spell. We got all kinds of ideas going on here. Yeah, I can give him a treat. I have a hamburger over next to me, which he was sniffing around earlier because it was part of my lunch, and he's like, I want it. But his poor little face is so scratched up today. We'll see. Because he didn't want to stick his nose in the water because he's healing up, and I put his medicine on there, and he keeps trying to scratch it, and I keep having to try and stop him because he won't wear a collar or a cone or anything. So it's a losing battle half the time to get him to stop scratching his little face because his face gets all scratchy in the summer. He and his brother. They only move the headstones, exactly. Attract the bugs to the surface. Brrr, they all plop up. Run up and eat them. Yeah, I think it'll be fun for these oases because, if you're out in the main part of everything, you'll see, on the distance, you might see a sand skiff flying by somewhere. You're going to see, bits and pieces of rock here and there, maybe cacti in certain spots. But, it's going to be the inhospitable land of deserts until you start getting to the oasis, and then you start seeing, beautiful trees and water. You'll see creatures everywhere. You'll see birds. You'll start seeing lots of colors, lots of crazy colors. I think that's going to be really neat. It'll be a welcome change. And it would be interesting to see if one of those meteors punched through, instead of hitting magma, it hit an underground cistern. And there's an artisanal spring or something out there that you find. What am I getting messages from? What am I getting messages for? What did I do? Okay. Okay, that's fine. Tell him to move the headstones. What about water, Nozaki boy? Are you asking what I was saying about water? Because there will be, on the fringes of all this, there'll be, the big deltas from the massive rivers coming down out of the mountains that go through, create the greenery along their banks when they're high and when they're low, different seasons for farming and whatnot, like a normal delta in a desert area does. But one of these might be interesting, like I said, if a meteorite punched through the sand and created an oasis, which would be pretty cool. A genuine rainbow oasis. Yeah, I have a section on the other document that has my overarching thoughts, and I took the rainbowy type stuff for the wings and the membranes of the little jerks of the sky, the little dragonling, kind of the unintelligent little dragonlings that are all over the caustic strand. But it's possible that that's sort of, a rainbow motif, like mylar wings and stuff like that could actually fit in here. Could be interesting. Gosh, my leg is asleep and I can't even feel my toes anymore because Calvino he finds the perfect spot to just shut off the blood flow to my leg. So perfect. The sands shift tidally. How does Oasis keep from being buried? That is probably because they actually, when they go along, I think what we're going to do is the sands only shift tidally when they're the certain kinds of sands. It's that talc, so it might actually create these weird talc rivers in the areas they're at. It won't shift like the major sand and the major things. I think if it's if you picture the desert like an area about this big, if there's a river that goes down this way and a river that goes up this way, and there's a huge desert swath in the center, when the moon goes across, it does stuff this way or it goes this way. And there are these crazy talc rivers and stuff that people, if you want to, you could be dangerous and you could ride out and actually try and cross the desert and ride on those things because they're so turbulent and, you're an idiot. But it might just actually be a feature of making the area really difficult to traverse. Everyone has to avoid and go all the way around during these the talc tides they actually have to circumvent all that and go different directions. So it's a really dangerous time to travel, possibly. It'll be interesting, though. Yeah, it could be as simple as rock formations, because we've got, you know, the images here too of the idea of these big bits and pieces. I have a whole bunch of other images where you know, there's some cool rocks that are worn down into these kind of things, but I also have some images of things that people made, and they're really rough AI images, so they're gross. I didn't even put them in here. They're like, it's kind of ugly, but it's an idea that when people created, you know, the like, hey, this oasis is here, but it does get a lot of sand and it keeps pushing and pulling back and forth, and eventually the oasis starts getting eaten up. They put in their own sand dikes, but it's not really dikes. It's like these huge buttress walls, like massive, you know, like 30-foot thick, massive walls that they've created out of the local stone, where they pulled and pushed and put them there to actually buffer the whole oasis. So when the sands come by, they hit it and they get forced back up and out. So you see, you know, the wall of sands coming at the city, like coming at you like this, and then it hits and it goes, and it gets shot up and then dispersed in the air. So it's basically like almost like a water wall or a retention wall for the ocean, like a seawall, but it's for the sandstorm. It could be interesting to see, because if these sandstorms don't get huge and tall like the huge ones in the my gosh, what are they called? No. What's the word for the sandstorms? There's a specific word, and it has B and an A and haboob. Is that it? No, I'm not saying boob. I'm saying habib. There's a word for it. And I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. Boobs? Where? Exploits is there for the boob talk. I gotta look it up now, because I think that's the word for it. Haboob is a type of intense sandstorm carried on an atmospheric gravity current, also known as a weather front. Haboobs occur regularly in dry land areas throughout the world. Yep, so it is a haboob. Look at me, I know things. That's why I did so well on Jackbox game. Or no, it wasn't Jackbox game. What was the thing we were playing before Jackbox games? What the dub? Maybe it was some of the Jackbox games too. I'm sorry, Kelvin. You put my leg to sleep. I gotta move you. Oh. I'm sorry, buddy. You are sweating and you're making me sweat. How are you making me sweat? Come here, buddy. Hi. Hi. You're gonna fall. Don't fall asleep in this position. He's just laying his head back like he's like, ah. You're comfy? His head is sliding down. You can see his head sliding down slowly. He's just like, yeah, this is the best. This is my cat, Haboob. He is a gravitational windstorm. No, he's just got his own gravitational pull, right, Calvino? He's just falling. He's just completely, if I don't do anything, he'll just stay here and fall asleep. And there goes my arms. Up tight with my toes. It's gonna be a foot stream, sorry. So, cat break. It's nice because I'm getting blood flow back in my left leg. He's such a dork. Frost on only feet, exactly. Clack, 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 clack. I'm thinking more about the those sand walls. Those could be kind of fun. Because I think, wouldn't it be interesting if they had like either the termite people or the other people, when those sandstorms come and things come along, that they have their structures built to actually play music? Either just haunting sounds or something like that. That could be kind of fun. Even if it's normal winds, but I suppose in a big storm, they'd be kind of haunting. Like massive sets of pipe organs or something, natural pipe organs, that'd be kind of fun. Yeah, I would need to get a second camera in a place where he'd actually sit. Because the only places he wants to sit are either in my arms and he wants to fall asleep like this, or on my lap and he falls asleep like this. Yeah, sign of artistry. Yep. Hi, Calvino. Can I go back to work now? He's like, no. No. He gets nothing right now. Let's see. Luckily, I can think and pet a cat at the same time. So I've got those. Those would be kind of fun. Just trying to think if there's other kind of things that people could do with currents and winds and stuff like that. Or if they did something during the war, like they had an industry here that was incredibly important. I mean, we have the meteorites, but that's not going to be enough materials to really do anything with. They can have massive quarries, because I think they would have some really cool stone out here. So it would be important for stone. It's possible that maybe out in this area is where the stone that Vulcan used to create the Soul Forge, the original ones before they got turned into Soul Forged, might be interesting. Or in addition, the civilization that Grix tricked into becoming the Soul Forge, their city or cities or their civilization, the remnants of it, could be somewhere high in these mountains, in those high altitude areas. So if people go searching, maybe they could actually find, little remnants of that civilization. That'd be interesting. Oh, he's stretching. That could be kind of fun. The poor buildings are low, and a bunker like to protect them from the haboobies. Exactly. You gotta have low buildings. Hi, Calvino. Hi. You just said, "Row." Do you want to move a different way? You want me to put you down? Okay. I'll let you back on my lap. I don't know if you heard him there, but he kind of gave me that little weak. It wasn't a full mouth or anything. It was just a. All right, I'm going to write down a couple of these notions here. There was break time with Calvino. Calvino the Seeker Cat. Hi, bud. Are you flipping over? Okay, you're flipping over and kicking me. Thanks. And I'm getting a phone call. Scam likely. I don't think I'm going to answer it. That could be fun. And let's see, I'll put that into one word here. Boop. And then yeah, I think they'd probably harness the wind for a lot of stuff out here, especially if they're going to be dragging water places. Using the wind, the constant wind coming up the valleys and other places, if they could actually force it to go in certain directions with those big walls, they could force it into wind structures that actually would, run pumps and things. That could be kind of fun. You hate that guy and wish he quit calling you? Yeah. I answer it and speak another language. I don't know ancient Assyrian. Too low for you, Daxie. Too low for you. Too low. And all right, so I'm trying to remember. There's a kernel of something coming back into my head from something that somebody said last session or the session before that. There was something I shelved in my mind And it wasn't the stuff on the caustic strand. It wasn't the gods. I don't think it was a demigod. That's gonna worry me. I'm gonna have it's a little pearl of an idea. It's a little grain of sand in my mind. So hopefully it'll turn into a pearl eventually, and not just some kind of an infection in my brain. So the major things that these people would be able to provide: lots of stone, probably all kinds of things from the ocean and the sea where the big delta towns are. Probably all the normal things you get from a place like this, like gems and precious metals and such. They're not going to be exporters like lumber or anything like that. But they could have a lot of other things like spices and incense and all kinds of plants and things that can't grow other places. So I think they've got a lot of things that they can trade in that respect. I think that would work pretty well. But I'm assuming that they could probably make all kinds of interesting things out of their glass too, or out of their sand. You know, different types of sand making different types of glass and whatnot. So that would be kind of cool. These whiskers are tickling my hand here. We'll see. Glass, stand, stone, gems, fish, incense and spices. And I'll say cats, because everybody wants cats, right? Yeah, glass products could be interesting to see what they could come up with if they have like really, like they have just really beautiful colors of glass that they can make from, you know, their different sands, maybe. Could be fun. Could be fun. Oops. Put that there. Yeah, silk and salt. Silk would possibly be a good thing. And like I said, too, we're not trying to do every culture in the world in this first, you know, lore book. It's going to be like a big area that has a lot of kind of familiar sort of adventure tropes and types of places and stuff, but with like some interesting ideas and areas on the fringe that you could explore. You know, like the Shire and all these things, and going out a ways to, you know, the lone lands and adventure places. But it won't be the whole, you know, entire world. So we don't have to come up with everything, which is good. But having some of these interesting products come from these places would be pretty cool. Jarek Thunderaxe, the legend. Do you think Jarek Thunderaxe would have made his way out into the Sapphire Sands to try and find his fortune? Took his llama out on one of these sand skiffs and went meteor hunting? Yeah, for certain exposed layers would be kind of fun. Like you're searching for like a certain kind of glass or a certain kind of sand for the glass. See, this is the stuff I love doing when I'm making my worlds. And I love doing all this stuff because then people will just see, when they're playing the game, they'll see, oh, there's trawlers out in the sand doing stuff with these big boom arms that they lower down, and it's got like a big canvas scoop with some like a sharp or a big metal piece in a back and a little like blade on the end of the little bag. They've got ropes and stuff hooked to it, and you see that it kind of like goes down on the sand, and they fill it up and they scoop and they bring all this specific sand up, and be like, the hell are they doing? If somebody is interested in going to find out, they'll go find out. If not, it's just backdrop, and then somebody may find out later, oh, that's how they get the blue sand for that kind of stuff, or the green sand for that kind of stuff. That's fun. But in addition to that, I like coming up with, you know, a dish or two for these places. So when you go there, it's not like every place just has a meat pie. Like here, obviously, you'll have spices and things like that. You'll have dates. Where with the dwarves in the other area there, you'd have the honey, the mead, the mushrooms, and all that stuff. Lots of fish, fantastic weird birds and stuff. I doubt they're going to eat the termite people. Chilled monkey brain, stuff like that. Fried termite legs. They're very divine. You should have some. Yeah, the wind times, because I have notes on wind towers, which people use kind of environments used for cooling their houses. But where those drafts happen, they should be, put to work in probably the nicer houses. Probably not the less nice houses. Oh my gosh. He's asleep here with his mouth part way open, just kind of going, with his little fangs sticking out. I can't tilt the camera down to see him because he's hiding underneath the edge of my desk, unfortunately. Fun times. Don't tempt Erudi, he'll eat them all. No! Not for you! No lasagna-flavored termite legs. We're going to put that there. Under food, should I put halfling? No, we won't go there. We're not going to go with halflings. Jarek Thunderaxe! There's Jarek Thunderaxe standing in front of the blue rocks. Let's see. I covered the industry. I covered the food. I covered that. There was one other thing that somebody mentioned in chat here. What was it? Oh, yeah, it was, never mind. It was the sign of artistry. I did mention that, yep. Yeah, the music was the beginning of the talk about the wind chimes being kind of the ambient, cool music. I have, well, you can't read it, but I have up here, wind instruments, I think would be a big thing to them. Possibly stringed instruments, because I put a note there saying this could be controversial because back then, people using things like sinew and catgut and stuff where these people love cats. So I'm like, they'd have to find like lizard sinews or something to use for their instruments. All didgeridoos all the way down. No, not rain sticks. That's not music. That's just sounds. Antlion sinews. Man, could you imagine the cool bows you could make from some of that kind of stuff? I guess that could be something that's a... Okay, Calvino must be sleeping again because he kicked me. He kicked me. Angry! My keyboard has so many white furs on it. For a black and white cat, you sure do drop a lot of your white furs. Maybe I'm just not seeing the black furs. Rain sticks are awesome. For you, Daxie. Next, you're going to tell me you like playing pickup sticks or canasta or something. That's true. All the other creatures, they might actually be able to just use those sinews. It's not a bad idea. I think there's also... Yeah, I mean, I know they make paper and a lot of natural fibers and stuff. Oh, I remember what it was. Oh, and I just startled Calvino. It was talking about magic and learning and stuff, of have been like a treasure trove of knowledge somewhere nearby, like the Great Library of Alexandria type thing. Now, trying to decide if something like that is real or if there are vestiges of it. I think vestiges makes more sense because then there's no place people are going to go. And then I spent 5 years reading books. That would probably be bad. But if it's legends, because this is Legend Seeker. Like, it's possible that the library was there. It was raised in either the God-Killer War or in a previous one. Yes, Kelpino, I'm touching your toes because you have your foot on my keyboard. Yeah, it'd be kind of fun to have something of a crazy make, like an old book made of metal plates or something like that, instead of the normal papyrus and whatnot. Direct proportion. Exactly. Yep, I'm wearing a black shirt, so therefore I get all the white fur. Right. Yeah, I wanted to devote a whole bunch of time to this area because this is going to be a large place. Even though it's not going to be the biggest area on the landmass, there's so many opportunities for adventure in an area like this. And having those all kind of like fleshed out a little bit and giving people things to go and see and look at and do in this sort of a scenario is way better than just saying, well, it's a bunch of deserts and a pyramid. What are you going to do? Go from the town to the pyramid. And that's what people do. So, but giving them all kinds of things like the, I gotta remind myself to put this in here. The bandit enclaves or whatever we're going to call them. Like a Jabba's palace. Wee. Nice. Yeah, lost knowledge is a good thing, and finding places where that lost knowledge has actually been saved by, you know, some important family that may not be important anymore, but in the time they were important, would be good. And I think that kind of a hook, because I have a hook written up here that is a noble trying to trace his lineage. Needs somebody to go into literally into one of these pyramids or tombs where he thinks his ancestors had part in it. But the note I have is maybe he's wrong. Maybe he's not going to find out, oh, we were this noble, wonderful people. We're like, oh, we were these really horrible people. We were horrible people back then. Thanks for bringing me this knowledge. Great. My family's disgraced forever. Yeah, the pyramids will not be anywhere near the normal place where people go. Not only could they be, you know, somewhat cursed, they could be, you know, overrun with undead, especially if, you know, something was broken in the pact with, you know, or not the pact, but how Mordecai could take the dead somewhere. That maybe these things are, you know, weak spots and there could be a dead around them. What are you doing with your tail, buddy? Flipping his tail around. But they also can be up in those low altitude or high altitude areas where it's really hard to get to. And they also have dragons in them in many cases. Because nothing's more fun than coming into a tomb and seeing that, you know, the massive opening on the side is this really cool shape and all that stuff, and then you look at it closer and you're like, oh, that's about dragon size. They could actually go in and out of there pretty easily. Oh, this is probably a dragon lair. Don't mess with them. Hi, what's up? Because if the cultists of Grix 2 find one of these and get themselves ensconced in one and they fight off, like, you know, maybe there was a minor dragon and they killed it and they take over it, then they've got access to this cool fort, seat of power, or whatever they've got. That could be fun for them. What's up, buddy? You're getting all restless. What are you gonna do? You hopping down? Please? Can I have my leg back? He doesn't want to let me have my leg back. All right, fine. I'm gonna just work around him again. Alvino! I had a note up here in Mordecai's throne too. It's talking about the witches for communing to people. I could bring that over to this, but I think keeping that separate in this area would be good story-wise, because then it's not gonna crossed the line with the same theme. You getting up, buddy? Okay. Ow, 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 ow. That's my foot. Yep, you stuck your claws right in my foot. Thanks. Are you moving? Hi, what's up? Where are you going? He's just... Thanks. If you just saw fur fly everywhere, it's because he just shook his head violently. What? Can we move you? What are we doing here? Every time you sit there for that long, my leg falls asleep a little bit more. There we go. Okay, that was all him just getting ready for a new spot to sleep on my lap. This is what I go through every day when I try and write. All the time. All right, I'm gonna go back down here. I'm gonna make a note of this. Let's see. Reputation. That will go with reputation. All right. So I do want to figure out if there's something I can do. Oops. I'll put the right word in here. Hi. What do you think, Kilbino? Can I put something else in here about one of the other gods? Do you think they have room for, because a lot of Egyptian societies had many gods. These people are going to have like Mordecai, but they're also going to have people who obviously worship the other gods. Who do you think it should be, Calpino? Who should it be? We want to put Davila? I think that would be kind of fun because she's the seductress and the vengeful one. Put her in there. She's a dangerous, seductive goddess. The crazy nightlife. Yeah. So the other thing I mentioned, I just wrote there, the cat market, that area, it's thriving. It's always active, day or night. There's always something going on. You can find all kinds of information. It's can be dangerous. It can also be a place to find out like exactly what you want, hire the right kind of people, the wrong kind of people. But it should be thriving all the time, always, lit with lots of, like all the great stone, but all the, the sun sails and everything. And at night, it's, people sitting around having, deep philosophical, magical conversations, coming up with crazy ideas, but, like 5 tables over in another little shop where they're drinking something that, got passed through a cat and then brewed into water with a little bit of honey or sugar that they're talking about, the next job they're going to pull off or this person that they're going to have to go kill. So it's going to be an interesting place. And I foresee there being a lot of places, since it's going to be a little more like that Mideastern, that it's going to be a lot of people can, chase across roofs. There won't be a lot of sloped roofs because they don't have to worry about snow. They just worry about sand occasionally. That you'll be able to do all kinds of fun roof chases and things in here too. Vegas without the gambling and Dubai. Not letting him sleep on. I have considered that. And I try and pull really close and he's just like, oh, I can jump that high. So instead of him jumping this high to get on my lap, he jumps over the arm of the chair and lands on my lap. Buddy. He just loves it so much. He also, when I go to sleep at night, if he can get over to me, if he's not out and about, he's just flopped right here. Aren't you, buddy? Aren't you? Ever since you're a baby, sleeping in my beard. Boop, boop, boop. Pass through a cat, as you do. Is she like slattish? No, Davila she's the goddess of seduction. She's the goddess of that kind of like passionate, hedonistic love, but she's also a goddess of revenge. Of the goddesses that's named, she technically has 3 aspects instead of 2. Yep. So she's, yeah, loved by a lot of them. And I can't remember what Erudi said. I'd have to go back and look through the stuff, what her overriding symbol is. I can't remember what it was. But that would be kind of interesting to have here and there, especially if you find like a brothel. They have like a little character on the wall somewhere that's like, oh, one of those places. But if you see a brothel with like a Mordecai symbol, you'd be like, oh, one of those places. The gods need a once-over. Well, and the thing too is about the gods want to leave enough room so people can do, you know, their own fun stuff, but also have the basics covered of all the questions that people will ask, like if they care about alignment, if they have an alignment, the things that they cover, you know, the aspects of nature and whatever, the things that they specifically created, like what is a creation they're responsible for. We got some fun ones, which we haven't talked about, but there are some fun ones, given the different gods' personalities. I think those are going to be fun, and people will like those. But that stuff, some of those things will be revealed in the main book. Some will be in the lore book. Is it the rose with the serpent? I don't know. That sounds like a tattoo that somebody has. I'm just saying. I know you don't have any tattoos because you'd be out of the wool. The wool? You'd be out of the wool. Right out of the wool. Bah. You'd be out of the will like that. That's what I was trying to say. Man. All right, so let's see here. Well, I'm going to go find it here because I can go look at it all again. The seduction, hedonism, and revenge. Yep, she believes that women are superior to men. It's an honor to be used by the goddess. Let's see. They may have advanced beauty, charisma, gifts. Yeah, the paladins who are dedicated to her are known as the Order of the Crimson Vipers. And they have their own oath. I think they have 3 or 4 oaths. Where was it? Yeah, it's somewhere there. I believe you're correct, or at least something like that, Chrysanth. A heart-shaped orchid? No. I don't think so. But I'd have to go look at it again. I literally don't. I just skimmed it really quickly. She loved feet. Ember just licked your toes. All right, then. What, Calvino? What was that? He just kicked. Like I touched him in the wrong spot. And he's like, no, don't touch my back. Give him a scratch? I don't know, you're just being a goofball. Okay, you be a goofball. You be a goofball tonight, man. All right, so we got that. I'm going to just mention that her paladins probably have some headquarters here. Like maybe her churches have some of their larger followings here. And that could be pretty fun. And it's possible that one of those people like that has a Jabba's palace is a not a paladin. It wouldn't be a paladin of Davila, but a woman who, well, runs her own, so to speak, I guess, criminal organization or a harem or both. She has all her men doing her bidding because they all follow Davila. And they run out and do all her stuff for her. It'd be fun. We'll get a Queen Sevi type vibe going with something out there, so she can be the be the Camellia criminal lady. It was her own entourage. Hear that, Sevi? You can get a whole group of sweaty, devoted desert men to do whatever you want. They'll go do stuff. And I say sweaty because it's always hot out here. So there we go. Oh, madame. I don't know if she's a madam. She just actually may be a criminal who has talked all these guys into doing stuff. So she's got her army of simps. She's done. Business as usual then. Don't tell Sevi that. Well, yeah, she's probably going to find out. And I'm canceled. Maybe. Five, 4, 3, and I should have just blanked out my camera. I should have just gone. I don't have a scuffling noise sound to play, sadly. Tenure. If that was a thing, that'd be awesome. All right, I'm gonna move this down here so it's separate thought. All right, well, this is good. I got even more stuff noted than I thought I would get noted for this area. This is good. And every one of these things is like a whole like a paragraph of thoughts in my heads. So we've got a lot of information for this place. The other thing I'm going to be doing soon is coming up with like city kind of like the names of cities, like at least major cities, and at least maybe a couple of villages in certain areas. I want to next time work on more of kind of the Anglo-Saxon kingdom, because there's going to be a couple of places in here that are going to be a little more like some of those medieval kingdoms that will have strife with other places, but they have their own culture that's a little different. Like the humans are humans, but they're slightly different humans. And that's one of the ones I want to do because I want that one to be near some of the others, and they're going to have little political back and forth after the war, the God Killer War. But I think that'll be kind of a fun idea and a fun place. Potential rainstorms. Comes like mud and everything slows to a halt until it dries out. No, nobody did bring that up. Because there could be along the deltas in the areas where the mountains are smaller, because, you know, if this area of the coast is like this and, you know, the desert spans off into the coast, where the cold currents come down and dry everything out, the cold ocean currents, and it sucks all that moisture and it sucks all that stuff away, and you end up with this hot desert that's just basically devoid of a lot of moisture. The rain and stuff is not going to come from that direction. The rain will usually come through and get blocked by other things, except where those cold currents go. The way I have some of this stuff thought out in my head and figured out in the meteorological terms. But if those storms come down and get swept up by something else, they could come back into the area, down the waterways, which would be kind of fun because they'd be able to get past the mountains and we can get scraped down to nothing. I get a ding ding. Okay, there. Ding, 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 ding. Sounds like the internet. Yeah, matriarchal crime boss with literal army of simps. Sounds awful. Sounds like the internet. There you go. Not the internet I visit. Well, you obviously don't go to Instagram. Wait. I don't know if that's true. Is Instagram all simpy? Is it Simpstagram? Is it? Is it? I had another picture of this sodalite stuff that I was trying to find. Where did I put that? That's the mineral. Nope, that's the sand. that's not it. I guess we'll find out too if there are other people that and races that Erudi is gonna have in there allow like the idea of, oh, I never remember how to pronounce their silly names there. Croca, whatever. The bird people. If they're going to be a thing, they might be kind of cool to have here. You have no idea you don't have Instagram. All right, then. Then they'll eat into the caves after the water dries up. Yeah, that could happen. The only social media you have are the accounts that Erudi bullies you into creating. Nice. I like that he bullied you into at least Discord. All right, so I really can't find this other picture I have, and I'm not sure why I can't find it. Okay. Why would you walk into a Sapphire Dragon's lair? Because you're a dummy. The dummies. All right. Yeah, I can't remember. I cannot remember how to pronounce her name. They're Rakas. Boom, we'll just do that. Do a boop bird. So maybe they are. Maybe they live here as well. Got a certain large cat flipping his tail at me. Loosen the fur. Whoop. You spraying the bees, Daxie? You trying to help Dave out? Okay, there's more like really centered for the resources. Where would I put this? Spritzing the bees so they go elsewhere. They will never go elsewhere. The bees keep Erudi out of that chat over there. That's all for Crescent's protection. The bees are like a cordon of, I don't know, not Secret Service because they're not very good at their job. They're more like if you went and paid like 30 guys from Detroit to protect you, they would beat the crap out of anybody who got near you. You know, that kind of thing. So the bees are her awesome thugs. Bees are fine where they're meant to be, but not around me. Hi, Calvino. Yeah, or if like, I know what it's like. The bees are like Crescent's cousins. You know, I picture them all named Nunzio and Fabio and Sprizio. I don't know what any other names are with EO. Mario. And they're all 6 foot tall. And they all basically surround her all the time where she walks. If anybody gets close, they're like, hey. No, they got to be tall enough to block her from everybody else's view, because that way they keep her safe. This is how it works. I'm going to have to look up the bird race and find out if there's another variety of it work here. It'd be interesting. I mean, also, this place is rife for the normal things that people would expect to see, you know. Snakes, giant snakes, snake cults, sphinxes, harpies, huge scorpions, all the normal tropey things that you would expect in a desert setting. But, you know, they could be flavored to, you know, blend into the desert better. Like, you know, you've got the blueback crazy scorpions that look like just rocks sticking out of the ground, but they're actually... that'd be fun. Maybe even a djinn or two here and there. Hey, I'm walking over here. Wow, That's weird. You sound exactly like Crescent sounded in all those videos from the convention in Dallas. Weird. Sphinges, not sphinxes. Wait a second. Oh, Kelvin. Oh, you just stuck your claws right into the meat of my leg. Thanks, bud. Hi. Yes, I know I moved you again, but you were putting my leg to sleep. This is, this is constant. A pervasive problem. You know I have to move when you're on my lap. You know I do. Your accent is not that pronounced at all. I'm picking on you because it's fun. That gives me a thought here. I'm going to have to talk to Erudi about languages and accents. Dreaming Tabitha, thank you very much for the host. We've been raided, people. Raided. Absolutely raided by Dreaming Tabitha. Thank you all for coming on in. We're in here working on Legend Seeker. We're working on the lore of the area of the world that is called right now the Sapphire Sands, where there's sapphire dragons and old ancient tombs and skiffs going over the sand and meteor land rushes, so to speak, where meteors fall out of the sky and everybody chases them down to try and get the riches out of them. Blue stones, scorpions, cats, stymphalian birds, bandit enclaves, hedonistic female criminal bosses and their enclaves out in the desert with their simpy armies of simpy men. All the things you'd ever want in the thing. Another raid, Nomi. Thank you, Nomi. We're just here working on lore. All the lore. And I also have Kitty Cat sleeping on my lap. So I've got to move my leg again, so he's going to get disturbed, and I'm going to pick him up. And for the last, 15 minutes of the stream, we're going to be sitting here talking. I don't know how much more writing I'm going to do. Buddy, I got to pick you up again. Are you going to hate me? Yes, you are. Are you going to love me in a minute, though? Yes, you are. Because you get to go back into your favorite position. Snuggled. Hi. Then again, Sevi with the lost caliber accents. Yes. Simpy armies of simpy men. All right, bud. You going to find your favorite spot to lay here? How are you going to do it? Which way are you going to lay? 20-pound cat just wants to lay here and go, florp. Hi. He's been sitting on my lap for the, last hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes because that's what he does. And he makes it hard for me to get blood to my feet. Don't you? Don't you? All right, bud. You flop. You sit. You do whatever you want to do. So how's everybody doing who raided on in? You having a good day? Did you have fun over there? Oh, he flopped. He flopped his head. Hi. You got no more thoughts on the lore, Calvino? He's got no more lore thoughts. He's 20 pounds, a sleepy cat. A purring sleepy cat. There was one more thing that popped into my head when it came to the deltas and the water and that rain. I'm thinking that possibly since that moon goes by, or the moons go by a very specific way, that's going to kind of the rivers may follow that path slightly. Where are you going? Yeah, that's true. Clay is going to get slapped soon, I think. At some point, he's going to get a slap. Hi. Did you need to snuggle into my face? Is that what you're doing? What you doing, bud? Yeah, that's why I'm wondering if maybe, because they have wadis in other places where the rivers move and they switch switch places. And I have a note in one spot with a river that runs uphill. And I'm thinking that might be kind of interesting to do in this area if the timing is right with the tides and the moons. It does it every like year once, where they pass in close enough proximity that it actually switches the direction this one little river goes, and it actually flows uphill. Hi. What? Oh yeah, water catchers. That's a good idea. That could be interesting. Yeah, they don't want the water going into the sand because then it could become toxic. Are you hopping down? What you doing? Now that you've deposited all the fur in the world on me? Mr. Buddy. Ooh, that's kind of fun. That's an idea. The oasis could be a natural cistern where they periodically pool. Yep. I think it'd be kind of fun to have that river that once every, year or once every few months, if the stuff is right. Oh, he laid back down. That the water goes uphill and it fills like a space up in the hills, like this massive cistern that was made there for some other reason. It could be interesting. That could be kind of fun. Or it just gets absorbed in the ground so quickly it becomes useless. That could be, yeah. Could make a semi-nomadic culture where the position of their cities change seasonally. Yeah. Depends on this kind of sand you have around. Yeah, if you get it into that talc sand, maybe it makes kind of like this weird sludgy, like that non-Newtonian fluid for a little while until it dries out. So you could technically run across it. If you're hitting it hard enough, you can get across it. But if you're walking slowly, you just sink. That could be entertaining. Calvino, you are so fuzzy. You are the fuzziest. Look at this. I don't know if you can see this, but this is just one of the little bits of fuzz that he left for me. Thanks, bud. Dork. I like the idea of them racing to get the water in certain places. But it also puts me in mind of trying to think how the, like those bug people could be gathering water. Like they have natural filtration in their built in, so when the waters come down, or the inside of their little domes and things that they make naturally condense, and the way they build them, it actually comes to little points, so it always drips down in these little cisterns. So they always have condensation and water always falling down in their little caves. That could be fun. Yeah, well, I put on a black shirt this morning because I own a lot of black shirts because, working on games, the default shirt color for almost everything is black. So I get a lot of free shirts, and yeah. And he's a mostly black cat, except for the underside of him, which is, all white. So, okay, he's half white and half black. But still, I don't know why I'm wearing a black shirt either. I'm a fool. If it's underground, separating certain types of sand to filter the rainwater naturally. Yeah. Group the weights until it rains in the talc sand, then cross it to the wrecks trapped there, salvage from them. Yes, that would be fun. It's funny because I was thinking about the wrecks and trying to figure out how, it's like once somebody wrecks in there, I was like, how the hell would you go get that unless you pulled it back out? But if there is a rainstorm that comes through, that would be kind of cool if they're looking at the clouds and they're like, ooh, it's going to rain. Salvage time. We're going to go try and salvage. Could make for a semi-nomadic culture, yeah. So I read that before, that where position of the cities change seasonally. That makes sense. And that could be fun. And it would be cool to have those little cultures and those people moving around. Like different tribes that move in different areas. It could be very fun. Got a lot of ideas. Wonder if I could... I'll think about that a little later. Well, I'm going to be wrapping up in about 7 minutes. March of the Dragon Queen starts in, about a little over an hour from now? Is that right? Primary structures built on a massive sand skiff. Yep. That would be fun. How's a bunch of people there? About an hour? Okay. So, yeah, I think trying to decide what I'm going to do after this because I'm so covered with fur. I gotta go get a lint roller from this fuzzy monster and free myself from the fur. And then I might try and play a game for a little bit. We'll see. But this has been a lot of fun. I love doing this stuff and brainstorming live. Now, the question I'll ask you guys is if I'm sitting here and doing a little more writing, where I'm not talking the entire 2 hours, if like I go for like a few minutes without actually talking, how boring is that for you? Is it fun? Do you like the brainstorming being on screen and me writing the stuff like actual meat of the writing off screen? Is this kind of more the way you'd like to go? Because, you know, I don't want to sit here and be boring because a lot of writing streams, what people do is I'm going to do a timer. I won't talk to you for 25 minutes while the timer is going, and they'll be done and then they'll talk. Because a lot of those people like doing co-writing, body doubling, whatever it is. If I'm writing, maybe that's kind of cool, but they don't write at the same pace as I do, and then they come out of their writing and start talking and it's jarring all of a sudden. I'm just curious. Love the brainstorming, engagement on the screen, and note-taking. Okay. So yeah, if you guys have thoughts, you know, definitely, you know, hit the like button on this, but also throw thoughts in the comments. If like, you're like, yes, I love the brainstorming part, keep the engagement, keep the talking for 2 hours, keep note-taking, come up with ideas, work on that kind of stuff, but do, you know, the bulk of the writing off screen. Or hey, it'd be fine if you did some writing, blah blah blah. You know, throw it in the comments. Comment. We love comments. We want more comments. We'll get more engagement. We'll get more people coming over. It'll be great. Because like Nozako Boy, you know, and Daxie and Brian C and Chrysanth even, you guys are doing many comments. You talk a lot in the chat, which is awesome, and getting the stuff in here. Even Savage Talk, who keeps up bringing up this cool dwarf, this Jarek Thunderaxe, he's just wandering the realms. He's just wandering through this whole world like, where's my land? Where do I live? And we got Rory in here who was chatting. Lots of ideas. Hi, what's buddy? We had Moss earlier. I think I'm not sure if we still have Moss, but we may have lost Moss, but he gave us a lot of ideas. He said Remz. And he said Jeremy Hamley may have a thing or two to say about Coriolan's. Fantastic Sarcastic was in here. Dave was in here, but he had to go. Aw. +1 comment, yes. No, don't do a +1 comment. Oh, thank you, Calvino. He's now licking my arm to try and help me. Are you taking the fur off my arm? Is that what you're doing? It's pretty nice of you. You're a nice guy. You put it there, but, you know, that's fine. Feedback gets the juices flowing. Hope I can help. Yep, it helps. Can add some ruins where mineral only found in the location mixes with the sacred water turning into a healing spring. Ooh, that's gonna be fun. Yeah, having things like that where they're very specific to a certain area and you have to either do something a certain way or it's the time of the year or specific conditions need to be met. Those are fun. Those are fun. I like them. I am a fan. Oh, Calvino's giving himself a bath now. You know what that means. Wet fur. Yay, a cat and spit. Just thinking about one more thing here. I've got some ideas for a few other things here. A few other things have come to mind. One of them is specifically kites. Like those skiffs and things. I'm wondering if some of them could have, like, instead of, like, you know, that big sail they put on the spinnaker, whatever that big sail is they do to do a big turn in yacht racing, if they could have kites attached to them that they use for extra mobility when they catch the upper currents to really get going. That could be kind of fun. Because I just looked over the picture. I'm like, It looks like there's a lot of different currents in the air. I think that could be fun. Yes, wet fur, Daxie. Spray the cat. Yeah, basically kind of like a sand sailing, parasailing, a mixed into together sort of. So yeah, to kind of close this out here, you can find me here on Thursdays on Moonskull doing this from 5 to 7 Central, where we do a couple of hours of Legends Seeker lore writing. And on Tuesdays over on Geeks and Gamers Tabletop doing the same thing, same time, different channel, 5 to 7 Central. And you get to come and be a part of Frost Written, where we're doing all kinds of fun stuff. And we have Calvino. And yeah, if you want, you can also follow me on Kick. If you can find me in the link there, you can find my name if I go blurp in Kick. You can follow me there. I am very close to getting my channel monetized, in fact. So anyone who came in, if you wouldn't mind giving me a follow, I will love you forever. Or as long as you let me. And then I'll stop, because I don't want any lawsuits. Nice. More bees for Daxie to spray water at. So, I think with that, I am going to get myself out of here. I'm going to go take care of the cat's dinner time and get Calvino off my lap and see if maybe he wants to go back outside and go hunt some creatures. Because he's been napping heavily for a couple of hours. I think it's about time for him to go. So, everybody have a great time. Thank you again for coming along. Thank you again for all the suggestions and ideas and brainstorming and putting up with my eccentric way of living, my eccentric way of thinking, and all the fur. I will talk to you all later. Now I gotta find the right thing here. Yes, and thank you, Tabitha and Nomi, for the hosts. You rock! Thank you very much. I will see you guys on Monday for Call of Cthulhu, and then I will see you on Tuesday for more of this over on Geeks and Gamers Tabletop. Have a good day. Yes, like and comment on the stream. Feedback.